Can you tell us, why do people have personal preferences when it comes to colour?
Part of it is based upon the different experiences that they may have had through their own life. They may have been complimented upon a particular colour, starts to then reinforce a particular liking or preference for a certain colour. But there's also some really interesting things that transcend your own individual personal preferences, things that are baked into who we are as individuals based upon evolutionary and biological processes that instead start to inform our type of response at a more psychological level as well.
When you say baked in, do you mean culturally the significance of a colour?
Partly that. So there are some certain cultural signifiers that are attached to colour, but there's also some deeper biological things there as well. So in terms of the cultural factors, we might look at a certain colour, let's go orange, and depending upon where we are around the world, that's going to have different types of meanings. If I am in Northern Ireland, orange starts to represent Protestantism, and so it can start to give rise to that broader sectarian potential conflict between Protestants and Catholics that were really associated with Northern Ireland. If we're in the Netherlands, it's a national colour. So if you look at orange, it's a colour of national pride and identity. In Hinduism, orange is a really sacred colour. In Buddhism, orange is the colour of the robes of monks and is a way of demonstration of their renouncing of the material world around them. So all of those things are different cultural expressions, cultural manifestations of the colour orange. Depending upon where you are, will then start to determine the meaning attached to orange.
For me, orange it kind of represents healthy, outdoor living, beautiful orange juice and fruit. It makes me feel like it's a really kind of healthy colour.
Absolutely. And possibly that's because of the association between orange and sun. We start to have an association between orange and the actual orange itself of a fruit. And so all of those things can also give rise to certain meanings around a colour like orange.
But it can be true that you have an emotional reaction to a colour because of a memory or an association.
Absolutely. So certain types of responses that a person could have might be based upon those past experiences with a certain colour. I'm thinking of certain shades of yellow. If you're sitting in a bathtub and you've had those wonderful experiences with your mum or dad as a kid with the little duckies that come through, those colours of yellow might actually give rise to a sense of peace and of wellness and of fulfilment. And that would be a very individual response based upon those past experiences.
Or school uniforms.
Or school uniforms.
Colours that we were forced to wear in primary school, we may not wish to wear in our adult life.
Most definitely. Certainly in high school, I had a certain maroon colour for my school uniform. I don't love it. I would be certainly trying to back away from that colour wherever I could. It probably doesn't match all that well with my skin colour and my hair colouring either, but the associations that you have will often be fairly formative and might mean that you, as a result, are less likely to want to wear that type of colour into the future.
What about the gendered colours, pink and blue, and how we sort of seem to have been raised to wear one or the other? Does that impact on our choices?
Pink is a really interesting colour. If we were to go back to the pre-World War II period, there wasn't such a strong association between the colour pink and femininity. It was only in the post-World War II period when we had Mamie Eisenhower, the wife of Dwight Eisenhower, the former US president, in the early 50s. She was really known for wearing pink dresses. For her, that was something, a colour that really resonated for her, drew out her features. She was also someone that was really looked up to, though, as a style icon, someone that was one of the best 10 dressed women each year, every single year for the Eisenhower presidency. And so as a result of that, it started to be this confluence of this is a certain type of femininity, this is a certain colour that she was popularising, those two things coming together, being picked up by broader cultural trends and movies and other types of things, as a result of which, in the second half of the 20th century, pink now equals femininity.
So now that seems to have been taken into advertising.
Yeah.
What are the significance of the colours that people use in advertising?
Advertising is all about trying to have particular associations with a brand. And colour is often a really important component of those brand identifiers. A great example would be Tiffany blue, that really eggshell blue colour that is associated with Tiffany's. If I was to present that colour to someone, people would go, that represents sophistication. Now, the reason why that association has come about is because of a huge amount of advertising over 100, 150 odd years, really trying to build up that association between a certain shade of blue and then a certain type of outcome. And that's broadly speaking what advertisers are trying to do. They'll have certain colours associated with their brand, and they try to imbue it with meanings so that we as consumers can look at those and start feeling particular emotions that the companies are wanting us to feel.
Why do colours make us feel emotions?
There's a number of reasons why. I think that the strongest research is around the colour red. Red in nature is a warning signal. When we see red toadstools, when we see red-backed spiders, it's typically a signifier of poison. And so we start to have that representation that red equals warning, red equals danger. Red, though, is really complicated because there's some other things that it can also start to do. If I'm wearing red, as a type of clothing, I'm going to feel more powerful, more dominant as a result of wearing the colour red. There's been some great research looking at the Olympic Games and for certain combative sports, and research has found that those that have worn the colour red are much more likely to win their fights. Red has a huge number of potential meanings, many of which have a biological basis to it, and it just comes down to the context as to which of those meanings give rise to that certain type of response. Colour is really important for identity formation. If we talk about and look at the meanings that are ascribed to colour and start to then see how that maps onto certain types of social groups or political groups, we see that for footy colours, they're wearing those colours with pride as a way to say, this is my family, this is the group of people that I actually aspire to belong to or that I feel really comfortable with. So in that way, colour is almost like the type of plumage that are worn by birds. It's a way of demonstrating, this is my group, this is my tribe. Other people out there with those other different colours, they're not part of us. And so it can be very important for identity formation and signalling that to other people as well.